This is the last of my 3 videos on the resurrected body that we can expect to have when we go to heaven. And it's based upon the precept that what Jesus looked like and how his body was, ours will be the same. We do the same sort of things, eat, drink and so on, be able to pass through walls, all sorts of exciting stuff like that. So we're up to the 5th appearance now on the shore of Galilee. And I'm going to have to look at my text because I'm reading scripture, so excuse me, I won't be looking directly into your eyes from the camera. 3 weeks later, 7 disciples went night fishing. There were together Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael from Cana of Galilee, also the sons of Zebedee, and 2 others of his disciples. Simon Peter, who's the acknowledged leader, said, "I'm going fishing." So they said to him, "Well, we're coming with you." So they went out and got into the boats, and throughout that night they caught nothing. This I'm reading, by the way, so that you can follow it with me. It's in John 21. So John 21, the verse is there, starting at verse 2. So Peter started going fishing. They caught nothing. Morning was already breaking when Jesus came to the beach and stood there. However, the disciples did not know it was Jesus. So Jesus said, "Boys, have you got any fish? Have you caught anything to go along with your bread?" They said, "No." So he said to them, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat and you will find some." Now they've been here before. We remember the incident with Peter's boat where he had an overwhelming catch. Well, he's doing the same thing again here. So in verse 6 he says, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat and you will find some." So they cast the net out and they were not able to haul it in because of such a big catch of fish was in it. Then the disciple who Jesus loved, that's John, said to Peter, "It's the Lord." Simon Peter, hearing him say that it was the Lord, put on his outer garment, his fisherman's coat, for he was stripped for work, and sprang and dived into the sea. That's typical Peter, that, isn't it? Verse 8, "And the other disciples came in a small boat, for they were not far away from the shore, only 100 yards away, and they dragged a net full of fish. And when they got on the land, on the beach, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish were lying on it cooking, and there was bread. Jesus said to them, 'Bring some of the fish you've just caught.' Verse 11, so Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net to land full of large fish, 153. They must have counted them, 153 fish. And though there were so many of them, the net was not torn. And Jesus said to them, 'Come and have some breakfast.' But none of his disciples ventured or dared to ask him, 'Who are you?' Because they well knew it was the Lord. And Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and also the fish. And this was the 3rd time that Jesus revealed himself and appeared to manifest himself to the disciples after he'd risen from the dead." So say that's John 21 verses 2 to 14. So what do we learn from this appearance on the seashore? Well, he miraculously filled Peter's net with 153 fish. We're not going to probably be doing that, but what about his body? He had bread with them. They all ate together, and he miraculously appeared and provided breakfast, but there's no real new clues as to how his body functioned from this particular visit. Anyway, that's the Shore of Galilee visitation. We've just pieced together from the different visitations what we can learn and so on. He can eat, we can eat, we'll be able to eat. That's good news, isn't it? We're going to A wedding feast should be able to eat. Yep, good. Now, what about the ascension itself into heaven? Now, those passages we've been looking at are from Luke's Gospel, and we're just continuing towards the end of Luke's Gospel now. In Luke 24 and verses 50, 52. So he conducted them out as far as Bethany, and lifted up his eyes and lifted up his hands and invoked a blessing, looked up to heaven, blessed them. And it occurred while he was blessing them, he parted from them and was taken into heaven. Now we'll just pick up from the last videos what had happened before that in Luke 24. And he parted from them and was taken to heaven, and they, worshipping him, returned to Jerusalem with great joy. So that was the last visitation that he saw the disciples. And it's picked up again. That was written by Luke, and of course Luke wrote Acts of the Apostles as well. He didn't just write the Gospel, he wrote the Acts of the Apostles. And in Acts chapter 1 and verse 9, and when he said this, even as they were looking at him, he was caught up, and a cloud received him and carried him away out of their sight. You say, well, is this going to happen to us? Yes, it is. We're going to be caught up in the clouds. And while they were gazing intently into heaven, two men dressed in white robes stood beside them, who said, Men of Galilee, why are you staring into heaven? Now listen to this promise. This same Jesus, who was just carried away and lifted up from amongst you into heaven, will return in the same way in which you saw him go into heaven. Acts 1, 9 to 11. So the angels who don't lie, they gave a promise, this last promise, the promise of the rapture, that he would come in the same way that he left. He left in a cloud, he'll return in a cloud, and we will be caught up together with him. That's 1 Thessalonians 4:16. We've looked at these passages during this long study. Now, what is all this about? This is the rapture. We are being taken out of this world before the tribulation. And God will not allow us to suffer his wrath. This is the wrath of God, the anger of God, for the way in which men have just ignored him and been idolatrous and sinful. And the wrath of God is coming home. And the tribulation is in Revelation. You'll find it in Revelation chapter 6 onwards. And it's bad. We don't want to be there, and we won't be there because we're being lifted out to safety, to the marriage supper. It's a great look forward for our destiny. Nothing to be afraid of, just things to celebrate about. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed this series, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.